Hello everyone, this is Mr. Elbaronin here again, and today I wanted to make another video talking about how you can kind of improve or practice or get better at Street Fighter 6 even when you can't actually play the game, which obviously relevant now as this awesome game still hasn't actually come out. And I'm going to be talking, or previously I just made a video about how to use these frame data websites to learn about your character and get really good at learning your character. But this video is going to be more about when you are just, watching some FGC YouTube and some little techniques you can use to improve your reactions, reaction pathways, neural stuff like that, and also just some general channel recommendations and how you can find good information on YouTube. So just generally how to engage with the FGC online thing, but also do it in a way that actually makes you better at the game. So before we start talking about actual channels and stuff that you should watch, just a little quick tip from me, something that I really like doing and I've been doing a lot in the past few years, and particularly I think this is important, or an important thing to practice for Street Fighter 6, is practice your reactions while you are watching gameplay. So particularly for gameplay from, there's tons of channels like this Street Fighter Replays Hub where it's just pure gameplay. There's no commentary or guide or anything over the top for you to pay attention to. But sometimes it's really good gameplay and I enjoy watching stuff like this. But when you watch something like this, I highly recommend you just leave your finger over the space bar, or if you're rich like me and you have YouTube Premium, you can do it on your phone as well when you open in the listening controls. And yeah, just start watching some gameplay, whatever characters you like. Just leave your hand on the spacebar, and anytime an opponent jumps, or particularly for this game, does a drive impact, just quickly hit the spacebar. Because you can just, if you don't press the spacebar, you kind of don't have the accountability. You can be like, oh yeah, I saw they jumped. If I'm just watching this and I'm like, do, just kind of sitting back, I could be like, oh yeah, I saw she jumped. But if you press the spacebar, you can see when you reacted and when your finger actually moved. Because important stuff for reactions and stuff like this is not only when you can notice things, but how quickly you can propagate the action potential of your nerves through to an effector organ that's actually useful. So getting it into your fingers, this reaction of noticing a visual cue, so the opponent leaving the ground or the opponent starting up a drive impact, just tap the spacebar. You don't have to pause it for ages like I am now, but just tap it and then you can see how early you reacted. In this one, if the opponent's really high, you're like, oh, that was a pretty good reaction. Or if you do realize oh, that was a little late, just, it's just a good you can really test how well you're actually doing reactions-wise. And when you do this, when you tap it, just think of the motion of a DP in your head. You don't have to actually do it with the spacebar, whatever that means. But just think of oh yeah, thinking of doing a DP motion with your left hand, or pressing down and down heavy punch, pressing heavy punch with your right hand. Just think of what finger twitches are going to happen when you reach these visual cues. So yeah, Manon jumped. Oh, drive impact. And reacting to stuff like this is super important in Street Fighter 6, particularly the drive impact, more important than anything else. So reinforcing these neural pathways is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it really kind of becomes second nature. It doesn't really become too distracting, and that's kind of what you want. You want to be able to just react to stuff like this as second nature. As soon as you see that splash of paint with the opponent going for this armored thing, you just react to it and go for it. So you can still enjoy and pay attention to this gameplay and learn from it, while also really, really strengthening these neural pathways, getting yourself ready to make these action potentials and just react to stuff super, super easily. It's a really awesome technique. I really, really suggest you you try it out, particularly for videos like this where there's not really, you're not listening to someone explain how to go for a combo or Oki or whatever. It's just gameplay, and you just learn a lot from it just by making yourself better and reacting to things. It's super, super good. I've rambled a lot about it, but I think it's a really important technique you should try. Also, just another quick note, I did mention SuperCombo in the other video, but if you are watching gameplay and you realize, wow, this player is really pressing a lot of crouching medium punch, or like why are they abusing this button so much, I suggest you just have another tab open with super combos. You can just quickly go over like, what is so good about this button? Like, what is there? Is it like fast or super safe or something? You'd be like, oh, it's plus on block and it links into standing like kick, so it's good for everything. I guess that makes sense why they're matching it, and then you can bring that into your own gameplay when you actually start playing with the character. Now, for some channel recommendations, I've got some things, some channels just to recommend. There are tons of awesome channels. There's probably going to be a bunch I forget that I actually really like as well. But these are just some I really, really like and what I find they're good for. So Reccomendations, come on, he's been one of my favorites for ages now. He just puts up a lot of content. It's a really good combination of like news, so he's pretty quick at posting anything that happens within like a few hours, and you know, good production quality, lovely thumbnails. And so he has a good combo of just like news, like, hey guys, this has happened, like with the Mortal Kombat stuff, you know, a little bit of stuff, just, you know, a little bit of video about that. But also whenever there's a trailer, he does a nice trailer breakdown. And he's been in the field for quite a while now, so he's got good knowledge of like even new stuff about Sylvie, which not only do I not know much about KOF, but I don't know stuff about older KOF games, even KOF 14. And he just knows stuff about all the buttons, so he always has important or interesting stuff to say. And even when he gets access to characters like this, he makes these really, really nice, super easy to understand, but super good content knowledge guides for all these characters. And he just has a really, really infectious enthusiasm about fighting games. And I highly suggest you check him out. Just scrolling through a little bit more. Yeah, so like lots of just talking about news, giving his opinions. He also sometimes just makes videos that he feels like making, just talking about characters that he loves. Like Hakan is a super cool character. And if we go further, you know, a little guide and first impressions about Bedman. He's just a really good player. He knows a lot about a lot of things. He's quick to making these high quality videos, and he's just so enthusiastic and in such an infectious way. Let me just quickly click on a video to show you. So like this is just a little recap video after we got all of this exclusive gameplay of Street Fighter 6 with the new characters, and he's just here talking about all the things that were kind of found out. He's such a good source of like tons of information. He doesn't just, you know, make news like, oh yo, look at this thing that's out. But like, he explains how in previous games, you know, there was divides about different amount of fastest buttons, but in Street Fighter 6 it's all 4 frames and like stuff like that. And he like recaps stuff that he finds as well. So not only is he a good news source for stuff that like he says and he does and gets access to, but he also posts things from other people, like showing off this awesome DJ pressure where he gets that fake uppercut into falling buttons. He's just a really, really, really good source of knowledge and just a fun, easy to watch channel. Gotta love Reccomendations. Also, he's a big lover of grapplers, so if you like grapplers, this is 100% the place to be. Next up, another obvious classic guy, Sejam. He's a good pick if you're more into some kind of long-form content. You know, he's a chill guy, he says his takes while there's some gameplay in the background, or he's playing the gameplay in the background. It's long form because most of his content is just taken from streams, or it'll be like a YouTube video with his, like, where, yeah, it's just a little statement like this. Even like short ones like this are from a stream as well. So longer form content, if you like to just watch a guy that's, you know, he's cool, he is a commentator, so he's good at just talking and spewing some, not spewing, but spewing actual useful knowledge, and he always has something cool to say. And if you just want some like slightly longer, more background gameplay, this is the guy for you. And now it's time for he's a commentator. He's been in the game for quite a long time as well. So he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. He's good at games. He knows a lot about a lot of characters and like the games they're in. Oh my god. And you can just watch, kind of have him in the background of whatever. He'll say things, you'll learn things, and he's got good gameplay. So another great pick is Sajam. Okay, another classic, Sonic Fox. One of the most infamous pro players in the fighting game community. His YouTube channel, or their YouTube channel, is a little bit here and there. It'll either be like super active with tons and tons of content, but really what I like about Sonic Fox is they just post whatever they want. You can tell they had a bit of a phase where they're really enjoying MK11, posting a ton of stuff there. They haven't really they were pretty into Street Fighter 6 when the beta was out, but they haven't posted tons of stuff afterwards. Obviously they just don't want to show off that they've been in the crack. But their Street Fighter 6 gameplay is super good, and obviously it's Sonic Fox. What is Sonic Fox known for? They're kind of a they're just legendary. Whenever they have commentary on a video, it is just such ridiculous crackhead energy. It's so fun, and the gameplay, of course, being one of the most infamous pro players, is of course amazing. Sonic Fox, gameplay-wise, is known for being very, very offensive, but also really into setup characters. But yeah, they really, really like to rush down and just go for some kind of more crazy and slightly more unhinged offense than a lot of Japanese players go for. And I highly suggest you watch them. They've got lots of, like, you know, about 15 to 20 minute videos. If it's stuff like this, it'll just be the gameplay, which, as I mentioned, you can use as good practice for testing your reactions for drive impacts or jumps. And if you are lucky enough to have a video where they have commentary over the top, you'll have a great time listening to them, I promise. It may not be high quality, but it is entertaining. Another really good pick is Brian F, particularly because he's a big Street Fighter V guy, so he's a kind of more specialist in the Street Fighter realms, whereas the previous few, like particularly Sonic Fox, are not specifically Street Fighter players. They're actually more of like NetherRealm games, but they're good at everything now after NetherRealm's been gone for so long. Brian F, though, more of a Street Fighter specialist, and yeah, he knows his stuff. He'll talk more specific in Street Fighter terms. He might use like more terminology like fierce and stuff for more classic games. And he makes really great content now. Whether it's, at the moment, it's a bit of a mix in between Street Fighter V and Street Fighter 6. But he posts really good news stuff. He posts good gameplay and guides. He's even been posting a bunch of shorts recently, I've noticed, where he just, has little short explanations about things like footsies and stuff, which, short little bits of nugget of fun knowledge are fun. And yeah, I would say, is kind of similar to Ruffelmonger and Sajam, except he doesn't really have the too much super long form content like Sajam. It's kind of more around the 20-30 minute mark, but he's got a face cam and he's fun to listen to. He's a chill guy.
What are you doing here? Truck. Oh, what an upgrade. The car got an upgrade. Okay. It's no longer a car, it's truck. Let's go.
Also, I really enjoyed Diaphone, a player that isn't specifically really into Street Fighter games. Actually, he's usually like into anime games, was a really big Guilty Gear player and a bunch of other anime games before that. Really fun guy. He really makes a lot of guides and kind of more educational content than just pure gameplay, but he does also have these quite long videos where it's kind of just chunks of streams or just lots of gameplay where he's trying to become the #1 Bridget or the #1 Sin or going through some tournament or something. But as you can see, this is his second Bridget guide and is super, super high quality, great editing. And
what's up, YouTube? This is Diaphone. You guys may have seen my Bridget one.
He's also a really chill guy, really easy to listen to, and packed full of great knowledge, particularly on the characters that he likes to specialize in. But if there's ever a DLC character come out, he definitely makes sure to cover them. And yeah, if I skip in, he really formats his guides really well, and the editing's great. Just the overall quality is really great, and he's a cool guy, and he's really good at the game. Another pro player, by the way. Okay, now Anime Illuminati is a bit more of the less serious side of the FGC. Not really a pro player at the moment, I wouldn't say. He's just a guy here to talk about the drama, or not really the drama, but just, I don't know, poke fun, have fun, talk about what's going on. Should the crack players be banned? And like arcade sticks. Like he'll always make reactions and commentaries to tournaments. He actually is based in Japan, so he has a little bit more Japan-based content, which is cool. So you get to see more gameplay and reactions to gameplay of Japanese players, which you might not get from some of the other channels. And he's a bit more of the lighthearted, like stupid, fun content. Unlike Rufumonga, though, he is definitely not on the side of loving grapplers.
All right, what's up, guys? So back with another
He
one here.
will make sure to express his despise for for command grabs, basically whenever he can. And he often likes playing with kind of crackhead characters, like in Guilty Gear, he was playing Ramlethal. He was proud about it. He knew his buttons were ridiculous and he wanted to do it. And in Street Fighter 6, I think he's interested in Blanca. So he's just here to have a fun time, make fun content, and it's enjoyable. I highly recommend you check him out. Now, Maximilian Dude, another super classic, been in the game for a long, long time. I think basically everyone knows about him. He's one of the most notable fighting game people. He's kind of like Rufelmonger, except maybe he covers like a little more general content as well. He often makes videos talking about like kind of gaming or fighting games in general, like the whole situation happening with Xbox and Capcom, like as a company. But he will also post like gameplay of like when he gets early access to things. He makes reactions, posts things, reacts to tournaments. He doesn't post too much of his own like online gameplay or stuff, but he does like to talk about like the balance in games, or like, you know, who should come back to Mortal Kombat 12. But he'll make a tier list, he'll make some stuff talking about the games, but not too much like long form gameplay or even too much guide content. But he posts plenty of content, and if you're interested in FGC stuff, he's certainly going to be posting something once a week that's relevant to a game you enjoy playing. And yeah, he's a classic, so you kind of have to watch his stuff, I guess. He's cool. Now, another pro player, Kizzy K. I believe historically he's more into anime games. I only really became fully aware of him in like Guilty Gear Strive era, where obviously he played a lot of that. He unfortunately seems to have the curse of often being a curse that I seem to be afflicted with, is often really, really liking to main low tier characters before he realizes they're low tier, and then tries to be a character loyalist, which was a bit of a problem in Strive. He tried to be a Kai player and then it didn't really work out too much, but he's still an amazing player. He makes any character work, and he's super fun, and his content is really, really super fun as well. His content is a little bit less of like long form, just webcam in the bottom corner and just gameplay. It's a bit more, I think he has an editor that makes his videos for him, so it's kind of like I don't know what you call it, not just like the highlights compilation, but it's kind of a highlights reel, you know, good editing. He's got like, you know, edits with his
crazy character. I think she definitely took a lot of
with like subtitles and kind of meme effects, zoom-ins, photos, a bit more of the fun YouTube-y cut style of content, but still really good stuff. And he's a super high level player, and he knows a lot about a lot of games, so whatever he's talking about, he knows a lot about it, and he's going to be spewing good nonsense, good informational, educational nonsense. And as you can see, yeah, the editing, like they put in photos whenever he's talking about anything, he's got that on the screen, so it's super easy to follow, super great content, and usually not too long. Usually it's around the 5 to 10 minute mark, so like little videos you can watch in just one sitting while you're, you know, having breakfast or whatever. He's a cool guy, fun to listen to, super good at the game, and knows what he's talking about, and super high quality content. So we love Kizzy K. Another channel that I particularly really love, hopefully she picks up Street Fighter 6. She hasn't covered it too much at the moment, mainly, known as a Guilty Gear player, but Romola is a super awesome channel. And if you really love just unhinged crackhead, not as in like crazy shouting, whoa, 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 that kind of energy, but just like, what the hell is going on here stuff, Romola is the channel for you. Less crackhead, more weed head. Is that a term? I don't know. But like a lot of the time her content is either long form or like cuts from streams. And particularly recently where there's been not as much gameplay because Guilty Gear's been kind of messing up, but like the streams have been out of control. Just watching some dude chugging soda, like random food reviews. Her chat always drives her crazy, talking about how they watch her in the shower and then she goes on a complete spiel and is like, you guys okay? For a whole hour talking about she was drinking, what is that called? Pilk? Like Pepsi and milk combined. She played poop music for an hour to check if it was working. It's some stupid stuff, but I love her. She's super entertaining to listen to. Got tons of long form content and yet again, another pro player who makes great content. So when hopefully she gets back into actually posting gameplay content, whatever that will be, is going to be super high quality content. And for me, it's pretty lucky because she's usually playing characters that I like to main, like Testament and stuff. So that's a bit fortunate for me. So if you're also like that and you play characters that I do, you might have a good luck with Romola. And super fun to listen to. And also, like, when she's not posting such ridiculous stuff, she also has like really, really good educational content as well. Like, yeah, also really, really long form, high quality, just gameplay, like hour-long gameplay sets of really good stuff, but then also really good guides. So going over patch notes or going over new testaments, guide for testaments, and like general fighting game stuff, like the process of improvement in fighting games, and also like psychology and philosophy in fighting games. And she's a history nerd. She's just so fun to listen to. I just recommend you. 10 out of 10 channel, Romola. Punk to God is... I haven't actually used his channel too much in the past, but now that he's been kind of more on the YouTube game, as particularly with Street Fighter 6, I've been coming across his stuff a bit more now, and I always knew he was a fun guy. He was kind of always a guest in other people's channels that I watched, like Sonic Fox or other people like that in Mortal Kombat content, and I just heard him in the background on the mic, but every time that you give this guy a mic, it is the most hilarious, like stupid stuff. And obviously as a pro player, his gameplay is amazing. He's a funny guy, he's so cool, and yeah, he's chill. Makes high quality content with high level gameplay, and he's funny. He's real cool. And he makes reactions to tournaments, reactions to gameplay. I'm not sure if he makes too much like guides or educational content, but he's mostly posting himself playing, which when you're as high level a player as Punk, any gameplay you post is educational content, in my opinion. Another classic, Jay Wong, a pro player, and one that's been in the scene for quite a while. He's pretty iconic at this point. He's the hit by the infamous Daigo parry, and recently he's been really, really going hard on the YouTube game, or maybe he always has been, but he's just been in my recommended feed a lot recently. Makes a lot of Street Fighter content, also was making a bunch of Guilty Gear content, I believe, but he's kind of moved back into Street Fighter, and particularly with all this gameplay that's been coming out, he's been making lots of like I don't know, kind of like combination of like gameplay and just like reactional opinion content where he just looks at gameplay and talks about what is so good about what's going on and explaining things. And as someone that's been in the scene so long, you know that everything he talks about is super legit and he knows how to pick out things that are actually really important or cool. And yeah, most of his content, as you can see, is around the 10-minute mark. Easy little watches, and it's high quality gameplay with a chill dude and a classic or iconic chill dude just talking about what's going on. And it's really helpful stuff. Nephew is also a channel that I've only come across really recently. I'm sure he hasn't just started recently, but his channel's just been getting pushed to me recently. He's really been going off. He is another Street Fighter based FGC YouTuber. and of course now recently been posting more Street Fighter 6. But if even if you go back a few weeks, he's still going super strong with Street Fighter 5 if you're into that, playing with literally every character in the game. But Nephew, as I particularly have been into him recently because of how good his jury gameplay was in that invitational tournament. So he plays characters that I like to play, and he also is just I really don't know how to explain what makes people really easy to listen to, but he's just chill. He talks in a way that you can either super pay attention or half pay attention to, but you still completely understand everything that he's saying. And as a pro player, everything he says is great. And it seems like he's like some people that post content aren't super into consuming content themselves, but it seems like Nephew consumes a lot of FGC content, watches a lot of videos, because literally anything he's going that happens on the screen, he has like 15 things to say about. He's like talking about why Kami's crouching medium kick is like really good, like the hitbox and the range and the active frames. He just knows everything about everything, and he posts a bunch of stuff about a bunch of characters, so no matter what the subject of the video is, he's gonna know what he's talking about, and you're gonna learn so much from listening to him, and he's super easy to listen to, so I highly recommend him. Next are, I actually don't know the difference. There's FGC Translated and FGC Translated Alpha. I don't really know what the difference is. I believe they're ran by the same person, but there was some problems with one of the channels. Anyways, whichever FGC Translated channel you are looking at, it's super handy, and it's kind of gotten popular recently, but I didn't even realize it was around years ago. But basically, it is like it's Japanese content reposted, or like highlights of Japanese player, FGC player, pro player content with subtitles. And it's like key parts of streams or something, and just posted with subtitles put over the video, which is super useful because even today in like 2023, there's still this really noticeable divide between the like Western or just like American versus Japanese scene in fighting games, just because no one consumes the same content. American players are not going to consume or watch streams that are in Japanese where you have no idea what they're saying, and the same goes the other way. Japanese people are more inclined to watch Japanese streams, and it's really interesting how that creates these real differences in not only how players play, but also how players like think about character strengths and stuff. It's so noticeable in tier lists and things. But stuff like this, like you can watch things from Daigo streams, super famous Japanese players, but you just don't really watch their content because you can't really easily watch it. And whatever this channel is, reposts Japanese content. I hope they have the consent of the people they're reposting, but they repost it with subtitles, so you can really hear these like opinions of these people on the other side of the world that have surprisingly different opinions about certain things. You might be like, wow, no one was talking about this in the Western scene for some reason. And yeah, it's really good stuff. And then like, I guess I don't have like a single channel, but if you just like search Street Fighter content like Manon versus anyone, like there are a lot of channels that are okay. Now it's actually a little different now that everyone has content, but if you just search for something, there are a lot of channels like FGC replay channels, HD replay channel, and okay, I guess my search was not that great, but there are a ton of channels where you just have gameplay and lots of sets against people, like particularly if I have like characters that have already been out, like versus Jamie. Yeah, FGC plays, Replays Hub, GrowTube TV, tons of stuff where it's just character versus character. Usually they are pro players or recognizable players, so it's high level gameplay and just tons of sets, which is useful because not really at the moment. When the game is fully out and you have your main, say I main Jury, I can search for matchup knowledge. If I'm like really struggling against a Jamie, I can search Jury versus Jamie, and there will be tons of sets specifically of high-level Juries versus high-level Jamies, and I can see how this Jury player approaches the matchup and maybe does things that I didn't do. Like, oh, you know, I can punish things that I didn't realize I could punish, or I can jump over things, or it's just useful to have this massive bulk of content. And what do they call, what does Hotashi call them? The replay sharks? Because it is a little bit questionable as to like the ethics, or if it's cool for these channels to just post all of this gameplay of all of these pro players, even though it's not their own. But yeah, I'm not here to argue if it's a good thing or not, but I am here to say that it is a very useful tool, especially when we're talking about that tip I mentioned at the start where you react to drive impacts and jumps. Stuff like this is the perfect opportunity to not only learn matchup knowledge, but also improve your reactions and just, you know, easily absorb some of the game while you improve at it. And when it comes to trying to find your own stuff, like if I'm trying to learn about a character, there are ways to get the crib of the crop, good, solid information. So if I'm looking for, wait, let's not do Luke because it's gonna be a stupid amount of stuff for him. Like Jamie, combo, setup, pressure, just put it in a bunch of keywords. Who cares how algorithms work? And there'll be like a ton of really good, like high quality videos. And if you really don't know much about the character at all, you'll probably want to go with some of these first results, like by Vesper Arcade and stuff, because they'll really talk about all you need to know about the character, and they'll work you from the bottom up. But what I find is like the best for once you already know how to play a character and you're trying to find some juicy information, you gotta find these videos with the crappy thumbnails or the default thumbnails, because they'll have some like juicy secret information that you haven't noticed before. Okay, this was just a bun into a special into an ultimate, but like stuff like this, I bet is gonna have some awesome combo tech setup video. Oh yeah, with some swaggy stuff or some secret things, and you gotta know how to find like this thumbnail is too good looking to have the best content. We gotta find. Oh, maybe I'll click on that one for fun, but that's for later. Jamie combo guide, like OD Jamie. I mean, this is gonna be good for just watching long gameplays, but like, oh, what's this? Or like anti-air damage. You can find so much cool little pieces of tech like this, because people aren't often going to post like a long form video with a great thumbnail if it's just for a small little piece of tech, like, oh, look at this anti-air of Jamie's, or oh, look at what happens if I get a punish with my medium kick or something. Like, it's just gonna be this little video that someone's probably uploaded straight from their PlayStation 4. So you gotta make sure you find this juicy stuff. And that is a pretty cool conversion from his crouching kick jump cancel into that combo. Like, it's the good stuff. You gotta know how to sauce out the juicy things when you want the rare info. But now that I've gone over all those channels, I'm sure there are plenty more, and I would kindly ask that you actually comment some of your favorite channels in the comments down below, so that I, and also anyone else that reads the comments, can find some more channels that you find really helpful for either learning characters or just entertaining Street Fighter or FGC general channels. Because I always love broadening my content knowledge, because especially with the volatile ass like recommendation system of the algorithms today, I feel like if I don't watch one channel for 3 days, it gets kicked out of my algorithm so quickly that I have to like really search for some new people to find and find some cool new content. So yeah, let me know your recommendations in the comments down below, and if any of these recommendations or tips were helpful to you, I'm glad. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I can't wait for Street Fighter 6 to come out, and I know you feel the same. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.